Hello students, welcome to today's English class. Today I'll be explaining you the first poem of your textbook, that is A Dust of Snow. It is beautifully composed poem by Robert Frost. This poem merely carrying a single line. It's a poem. You'll be surprised to know that the entire poem is carrying one line only. You can see the full stop at the end of the poem. So it says that it is a one line poem, and this simple and short poem possesses a deeper and larger meaning. It speaks about the unimaginable healing power of nature. It shows that how a petty act such as experiencing snow on one's body may just bring a great deal of transformation into one's mood. So the poem speaks about a day when the poet was in extremely sad mood. His state of mind was extremely gloomy. He was quite dejected. The reason is unknown. For some unknown reason that has not been explained, what was the reason of his being gloomy, what was the reason of his being sad, but the thing seemed to be quite monotonous and dull to him. He was in a spell of gloom. He was in a spell of dejection. On that particular day, there took place a small happening, and that small happening brought about a transformation in his mood. What that small happening was, let's explore. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Fine. He's mentioning of a small happening when a crow sitting on a hemlock tree shook down some tiny particles of snow. There was snowfall around. Snow was there on the hemlock tree, and crow sitting on the one of the branches of the hemlock tree shook down, dropped some tiny particles of snow on the poet. And this, falling of some tiny particles on the poet's body just brought about a significant change in his mood. It gave his heart a change of mood. His heart underwent a tremendous change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. By the time this hadn't happened, the poet on that particular day had spent his day in an extremely sad mood, in a state of dejection. He had rued means he has regretted over. Rue is a beautiful word here. I would like to let you explain it. Rue means regret. Rue means remorse. Fine. So when you are extremely sad, you rue over your time, your life. Fine. So he had spent the part of the day before the happening of this small event. He had regretted that part. He had spent it with a feeling of remorse. He had a sense of repentance. He had felt sorry for his sad state of mind, whatever the reason for this was. But after this particular thing took place, after he experienced snow on his body that had been dropped on him by the shaking of the branch by a crow sitting on the hemlock tree. This particular small seeming incident brought about a great significance, a great transformation in poet's state of mind. The poet who had spent his day sorrowfully, the poet who had spent his day ruefully, who had spent his day remorsefully, who had spent his day regretfully, underwent a transformation of mood, and he felt happy, he felt elated, he felt ecstatic, he felt cheerful. Fine. He didn't lament, he didn't remorse, he didn't regret, he didn't feel repentance, he was not sorry for now. So this way, a simple and short happening, did a miracle with the poet's state of mind. It transformed his sad mood into happy mood. So this is the message that the poet wants to convey, that nature is filled with miracles. Nature has extreme power of healing. It can heal the deepest of the wounds of the human beings. So we should expose ourselves to the lap of nature. We should get closer to nature in our lives. This only thing, if understood by human beings, that they need to expose themselves to the lap of nature, it can heal, it can repair, it can cure all their problems, and they'll be living a happy life. This is the explanation of the poem, my dear student, and I would like to tell you that there is some symbolism used in this poem. See, otherwise you must have seen that poets have been using some fragrant and beautiful appearing trees in their poetry, like some of the poets use the tree oak, pine, and maple tree. These are the beautifully looking tree, but hemlock is a poisonous tree, and hardly do ever the poets make hemlock a subject of their poetry. But Robert Frost has deliberately chosen this hemlock tree that is poisonous in nature, that is considered to be inauspicious, and he has chosen crow as an object to his poetry. Otherwise he could use sweet singing birds, nightingale, myna, so many sweet singing birds are there, parrot. But he has deliberately used crow and hemlock tree as objects of his poem, because these two objects used by the poet, they identify with the poet's state of mind. At the beginning of the poem, the poet's state of mind was gloomy, the poet's state of mind was sad, the poet's state of mind was dejected. So deliberately the poet has used crow and hemlock tree to make it similar, to make it look alike with the poet's state of mind. Fine. And the other reason behind poets using these two objects of nature, which are considered to be inauspicious by the human beings, to highlight the fact that the things which seem to be inauspicious, even they may have miraculous healing effect. Fine. Even they may become the harbinger of happiness, they may become the bringer of happiness, they may bring happiness, they may bring cheer, they may bring delight. So nothing is auspicious or inauspicious in the world. Whatever has been created by the by Almighty, everything is acceptable, every creature is acceptable, every creature and everything created by Almighty has its own purpose. So this distinctions, that one thing is auspicious and one is inauspicious, it is man-made. It is man-made. Naturally all things, all creatures are equal. Fine. So this also the poet wants to convey, that we shouldn't consider something auspicious or something inauspicious, and even the things which we consider to be inauspicious, they may be the carrier of happiness, they may be the bringer of happiness, they may be the harbingers of happiness. So we shouldn't consider anything inauspicious in our life, and we shouldn't give up. We should expose ourselves to the bounties of nature. The lap of nature is the best place to cure our all the issues, cure our all the problems of life. Nature has unimaginable healing power. Fine. And one more thing I would like to explain. The title, A Dust of Snow. Dust of snow here refers to the tiny particles of snow which the shaking of the crow sitting on the branch of the hemlock tree dropped on the poet. And the word dust has deliberately been used because those particles were so small in size that the poet has used the word dust to just mention these tiny particles of snow? Fine. So this is the poem explained, short poem. You are advised to understand this in between the lines. Just go through it as many times as you can, because every piece of poetry has a hidden treasure that you may explore if you just go into its depth, if you try to explore it. Now I would like to tell you about the just literary devices used and rhyme scheme of the poem. See, the way a crow shook on me the dust of snow. So crow, if we mark it with sound A, let's mark this sound crow with a. Me is a different sound. B, snow, again it's the sound of a. Tree matches with B, so again B I am marking. Hurt is a different sound. C, mood is a different sound, so I'm marking it with D. Part is a different sound. Part is a sound that rhymes with hurt, so C. Rude rhymes with mood. So this is the rhyme scheme: A B C D C D. So this is the rhyme scheme of the poem, my dear students. Let's explore other figures of speeches in this poem. Fine. There is alliteration used twice here in this expression. Let me explain here. Saved some repetition of S is there, and one more you can see has heart, repetition of H. So in these two expression there is figure of speech alliteration. You know the spelling. Fine. And let's see one more important and new literary device that perhaps you would be getting to know first time, that has been used in this poem, is enjambment. Enjambment is a literary device where there is no punctuation mark at the end of a poetic line. Like you can see the way a crow, there is no punctuation mark. The same line continues further. Shook down on me, then there is no punctuation mark, no comma, full stop, then it continues further. So throughout the poem there is this literary device used, enjambment, wherein the same line continues to the next without punctuation. Fine. So I hope you have understood rhyme scheme, literary devices, that is alliteration used twice, enjambment is there. Theme of the poem is the unimaginable healing power of nature. Message of the poem is that we should not give up hope. We should expose ourselves to nature, and we should not discriminate amongst people or things on the basis of their being considered auspicious or inauspicious. Whatever has been created by Almighty is for some purpose, and even things which seem to be inauspicious in nature can be the reason of happiness. Like crow we consider to be inauspicious. If one happens to watch a crow, one considers that the day is going to be bad today. Fine, but it's not like that. And there are idioms created. Crow is considered to be a bird of bad omen. I would like to teach one new thing to you here. Crow is considered to be let me delete it. A bird of bad omen. Omen means auspiciousness. Fine. In Hindi we say manhoos. Fine. So bird of bad omen, and this is a beautiful idiom that can be used for people as well. If suppose there is a person who is defamed for always bringing the sad news. Fine. Suppose Mr. X is there, and whenever he meets you, she shares something unpleasant to you, something sorrowful to you, something that makes your mood gloomy. So you can say Mr. X is a bird of bad omen. You meet him and you become sad. And opposite to this, you can be a bird of good omen, a person who always brings happy news. Fine. So bird of bad omen, bird of good omen, these are the idioms I would like you to learn along with the explanation and ins and outs of this poem. Fine. So let's call it a day here. Thank you very much, my dear students, for staying there. Explore more about this poem, solve its NCERT exercise, and stay happy always. Thanks and take a good care.